Motorcycle Men.
All right. Are we starting?
Go.
Are we beginning now?
Go.
158.
All right.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. That's the evening, afternoon, morning, whatever time you're listening to this podcast. This is the Motorcycle Men Podcast. And we are here in the V2N Cafe in the corner booth in downtown sunny Cranford, New Jersey, where it's always frickin' raining. And thunder and lightning and storms and hail and
then really hot, and then not, and then raining, and then not,
and then
it's super hot,
and
then
then
not
boiling.
rain, and then boiling, and then raining.
And then, lava coming from the sky.
I love all of it.
And
it's still better than the winter, I say.
this is true. And we are here in the V2N Cafe, of course. And my name is Ted. And there's a problem there.
Justin's having an ED problem.
Yeah,
This happens with old age.
his mic has
Erectile dysfunction.
my mic tile dysfunction.
Mic tile dysfunction.
I guess I'll just talk like that.
That's a little gay. You can probably turn it sideways maybe if you want. Yeah. Nope. The other side. The other side.
See? Now we're getting... All right, I'm just...
All right, fine. All right, good.
I just won't say anything.
No, what is it?
We need all your input.
We need input. We need input. So my name is Ted.
Yes, it is.
Mostly known
I can
as
confirm that.
Wrong Way. And I am here with Tim Buck2. All right. Hold it, you forgot the other sound.
Gee, thanks.
Yeah, okay. All right. There's that. And, of course, Chris the Joker.
Access granted.
That's a horrible laugh.
Yeah,
They sound quiet, don't they?
They do. I don't know why.
What's up with that?
Turn it up.
Is that because of the thunderstorm?
Maybe. And, of course, we're also here with our good friend, all the way from Bergen, Harley Davidson, Justin Shoes. How's it going, boys?
It's going.
It's going.
What's new and exciting?
Harley
The announcement of new models. How
Well,
about
I
that?
know. Yeah, we're going to get to that. Don't get excited. Jesus Christ. Shut up.
You asked what's new.
Yeah,
That's the only
that's
thing
what's
new.
new.
Well, no, I
'Cause
mean,
nothing else is
I
fucking
mean,
new.
new with you.
Nothing.
Nothing. It's
Work,
summertime.
work, ride, when I can, sleep.
Wow.
Poorly.
You don't sleep poorly. Not at all.
Yeah, when I fall asleep
When-
finally.
well, yeah.
Poorly.
Well, maybe you and I playing PUBG at 12:30 at night doesn't help.
No, that's actually
Because
fun.
you go to sleep with visions of shit happening in your head, you know.
Justin's
Sugar
been fishing.
plums.
Yeah.
No sugar plums.
And Justin's been fishing.
Yeah,
Catch
we're
any
gonna-
fish?
Yeah, Justin's got the life.
Yeah, we're
he
gonna-
does a lot of fun stuff.
He's not talking.
We're gonna get into that
All right, we'll talk about my fishing experience
very
a little
very
bit later.
shortly. So
Catch any mermaids?
this is a little follow up. I had interviews with Steve Soloy of Surf and Summit Motorcycles, our new sponsor, Larry Little of the AIM Expo,
Nice.
and Long Haul Paul. That's Paul Pillen, the guy he's got MS and he's been riding a crap load of miles all around the country to raise money for MS. Go check it out. And I have had a crap load of rider ride interviews too with guys talking about their bikes. Had a guy talking about his Sportster trike.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, pretty neat. And so this Motorcycle Men episode is brought to you by Surf and Summit Motorcycles. While we're at it, get some business out of the way. Maine and New Hampshire's newest motorcycle rental and tour company. Because when you guys go to Maine, you're going to want to rent a motorcycle, right?
They have very comfortable T-shirts, too.
Yes, they do. Surf and Summit offers Harley Davidson Big Twins and Suzuki V-Stroms for rent at reasonable prices. Surf and Summit is happy to deliver your rental bike to wherever you are. So if you're in Portland, Oregon, and say, I'm coming to Portland, Maine, he will deliver it to you in Portland, Oregon.
Yes.
Steve may not like that, but I think that's what it is. You can check out his bikes on his website. Also, you can look that up in Falmouth, Maine. And they offer also for rental helmets, jackets, gloves, and GPS. So you'll have everything you need to have a great trip in New England. Riding those beautiful rugged coastline of Maine and the amazing White Mountains of New Hampshire. So Surf and Summit can help you have a fantastic trip. For more information, just go to, you ready? www.surfingsummitmotorcycle.com. Psycho Gear, also our other sponsor, has 136 stores nationwide. If they don't have it, you don't need it. So if you get over to Edison, you go say hello to Chainsaw Ginny and Sean, and they'll hook you up with whatever it is you need. And you tell them the Motorcycle Men sent you, and they will wash your car.
And they'll throw you out and call the police.
Probably. Very possible. And, of course, Tobacco Motorwear. Get yourself a pair of Tobacco Motorwear riding jeans and a California riding shirt like Chris and I wear.
Yes.
Because we're cool. And
I
This
wore
is
it.
you're not. Nobody's
I've worn it 2 times and I haven't worn it since.
Apparently,
So
I do their
fucking high.
commercials.
yes.
I don't know if you've seen the ad. That is like it's an uncanny resemblance.
Apparently.
Yeah.
But, so if you want to get something from Tobacco Motorwear, give them a call. Tell them the Motorcycle Men sent you, and they will give you a discount of, who knows. They'll just call you a name or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so here we are. Let's do the 4 corners at the round table. Or the octagon table. Tim, what's new with you?
nothing
Anything
motorcycle related.
Nothing motorcycle related. Have you
No,
been dreaming about motorcycles?
I've been. Well, Chris has been sending me bikes on Craigslist. So.
Oh, you have? Okay, really?
And
Okay.
some interesting things. But if I had the money, I would get them.
Okay.
But nothing.
Have you been riding any bikes on PUBG?
Absolutely not.
No. Let's go. Well, Crystal story. Yours is probably going to be interesting. So
Yes.
let's see. So Justin went and did some motorcycle deep sea fishing.
Yeah,
Motorcycle deep sea
it's
fishing.
just as complicated as you'd think it would be.
Yeah.
No,
So what's been
I
up with
did-
you? Been
well,
riding? Have you been riding?
I have. I've been doing a little bit of riding. All of it has ended up being in the rain. So I decided if I'm getting wet anyway, why not go fishing?
Yeah, I could see how the two would go hand in
Yeah.
hand, right?
So I figured if I was doing water sports anyway. But I did. I went deep sea fishing for the first time
Oh, nice.
this past weekend, and it was quite the experience.
How deep was it?
Well, what's pretty wild is there was parts when we were out that the water depth was upwards of 200 and higher, which is pretty wild. When you see the size of the bait and the size of the lines and the size of the reels and poles and the whole 9 yards, and you're like, I'm gonna catch a freaking like a school bus with this thing. You know what I mean? It's like the shit is just enormous, and you don't realize how important it is until you hook something up that's that big. I caught couple little things. I didn't catch any
Did you
trophy
catch a
tunas.
shoe? Maybe a shoe?
I had one thing hooked up that I fought for about 15 minutes before I handed it off to somebody else who fought it for about 10 before we lost it. But, I mean, that thing was folding the rod completely in half. I was waiting for the thing to
Did
I
stop.
wonder what you
probably-
had.
It
I have no idea.
Probably hooked a submarine. or
But
something like that.
it was nuts. I mean, at one point, I had my entire body weight leaned back like as if I was trying to throw myself onto the deck, plus pulling as hard as I could, and it was holding position. So whatever it was, I mean, I'm 190 pounds
So you must have.
plus adrenaline. So this
you
thing
must have hooked into something.
This thing had to be pretty freaking big for me to not even really budget that way.
He caught a whale.
But,
Yeah, right.
No,
But-
probably here's what happened was I probably if some divers went down and checked that followed that line, you'd probably see this sunken ship that was dragged about 6 feet.
hey, you know what? Anything's possible. They're gonna be like the Titanic used to
It
be
was
here.
it was a school bus.
Meanwhile,
No,
I
where did you-
hooked the line, and the guy behind me on the other side of the boat, and we were just pulling each other for.
Really?
What
That'd
are
be
you doing,
hysterical.
Jim?
So
I got one, too.
Where did you go?
We went out. We left out of Ship Bottom, and we went past
New Jersey.
Barnegat Lighthouse.
Okay, so yeah.
And then we went out. Into there's some canyons out there. We didn't quite make it to the Hudson Canyon. We got a little bit closer than that. It's called the Chicken Canyon, and then we did a couple other little spots
And
around
that was
there.
the first time for you said?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did
I've
about
never
180 miles on the water that day.
All these
12
years I've never
hours.
gone.
Oh shit! You do know? I don't know if you know this or not, but some local, I guess like an organization down there, they got a hold of a bunch of old wrecked cars, and they did create an artificial reef off the coast down there.
There's actually a couple spots like that, and there's a lot of sunken like shipwrecks and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that you can go out and fish.
Yeah.
I mean, the technology for fishing is so different than like, stick and string. You have things that tell you what depth something's floating by, the temperature of the water, and the patches that they change, and
Yeah.
I mean, the depth of the water, the temperature of the water, all kinds of crazy shit. I mean, the fact that I didn't catch a fucking tuna the size of this room is beyond me with the amount of technology that we had on the boat. But, we just had a couple storms, so I don't know how much that affected it or didn't affect it.
Did
But
anybody catch anything?
we all caught a couple, comparatively speaking, small stuff. Big stuff for river fishing, but small stuff for, how far out we were in the ocean. But
Well, but when you're on a river or on a lake and you catch a fish this big, you go, "Holy crap!"
Right.
But when you're on the big ocean, you catch something this big, you go,
it's
"What?"
small. Yeah, right. That's kind of the whole
That's
idea.
nothing.
So,
Yeah.
In this big water, I caught this
This
little
is right.
yeah,
That's bait.
Exactly.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and actually, a lot of the stuff we caught, we ended up. Some of it we saved for bait because we figured we would need it. But I caught a red grouper and 2 sea bass.
Really?
Yeah. One of the other.
Anything you could keep?
I didn't keep any of it.
Oh,
I'm sure.
really?
The one maybe was close.
You got to be, you got to.
Sea bass is just awesome.
Yeah,
Is it
but
really?
you know what the thing? It wasn't a big enough sea bass where it was like, even if it was keeper size for me to. By the time I got
Was
done
it as
doing
big
everything-
as your forearm?
No, it was probably a foot or a little bit less.
Nah, it's small.
Yeah, it's small.
All right.
Like I said, it was. If I caught it in the river, I'd have been pretty excited about it.
You know what's
But,
really funny about this podcast is that we never really talk about motorcycles. 2 weeks ago, we were the Lighthouse podcast.
well, we just talked about a lighthouse again, so I think this is our slow transition from being a motorcycle podcast to being the Lighthouse man.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I'm about that.
That's fine. That's all right.
We'll start talking about our dinghies.
Yeah.
We've talked about them plenty.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty sure.
But-
Chris, now let's talk about your repairs and stuff. We got things going on your bike, right?
Finally.
Yeah.
Something was so minor that was an annoyance.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
transmission plug on my bike decided to start leaking. Because since the last time I did the fluid last month, it was never properly put in. Because it fooled me.
It did fool you. It went in kind of slightly.
Cockeyed and
Yeah.
and tightened up, and I thought it was in, and it wasn't all the way in.
It was not.
So
Nope.
kind of stripped the bolts a little bit,
Yeah.
stripped the threads.
And
But
then he
It's
came.
not as horrific as it sounds.
He came down to the TED shed,
Yep.
and we put it up on the TED lift. And I had a new bolt, a new transmission bolt plug, and we put a brand
And
new.
it was a fucking hair, pubic hair bigger,
Just a little bit bigger.
and it worked perfect.
Had a smaller magnet on it, which I thought was odd. But we put brand new O-ring on there, and it had brandy spanking new threads, which I felt were a little coarser than the original bolt. And it went in. It went in nice and straight, and it fixed those threads on that case.
Yeah, it did. Well,
Went
they have
right
the
in.
tap bolt because we were considering about using a tap bolt.
We were, but we
to
didn't have
rethread
to.
the whole fucking
Didn't
thing.
have to though, because
So,
it
thank
went
God.
in, and I just kept periodically, as I was putting it in, just kept checking it, making sure it was going in good.
And I switched the actual gear oil, red
Yeah.
line. I remember you always said that you actually like to use actual gear oil.
That's what we used. Red line
And that's what we
transmission
used.
fluid with
I
shock
use
proof.
I use the Harley gear oil for the engine and the trans and the primary, and I use the synthetic for the engine.
That's what I do. I pretty much do the same thing. Yeah, we had we put the red line
what I
transmission
do, too.
fluid with the shock proof. We put that in there because it's you were surprised when you saw it first. Yeah, because it's red.
Because that was always the biggest problem using Syn 3 in the trans. When you go to check the fluid, and it's so clear on the chrome fucking stick that comes out, you can't see the fucking shit. It used to annoy the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to look at it, I'm like, I can't see if the fluid's there or not.
But
Now
with
with the red line, I can see the fluid on the stick.
You can see the red line.
you can
Yes,
see the
I
red
can
line.
see the red
right?
line.
Exactly.
Maybe that's why. I wonder if that's why they called it red line, because
Maybe.
everybody
I
was
don't
pissed
know.
off that they couldn't see the fucking fluid on the.
Maybe. But it's all good. Everything's groovy now. Yeah, we went for a little ride afterwards.
Nice.
Nice spooky night ride through the woods.
I love night riding. I love it. The only
Yeah.
thing I worry about is this fucking tall-legged rats. It's the only
And,
thing I worry about.
So with me, what I've done is how much ride have you been doing other than that, Chris?
Well, outside, I don't count work. I mean, that's 40 miles a day.
Do you ever ride to work?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I mean, my commute is up the Parkway, so it's not exciting.
No,
That must be
kind of like mine.
It must be just an ugly commute, though.
I'll be honest with you, a lot of times what ends up happening is when the weather first starts coming out of the winter and even like sometimes late winter, I'll start riding to work because I'm just like really getting that itch. And then when it first gets really nice, I ride to work like all the time. And then I get sick of sitting in traffic on the Parkway, and I'll end up driving towards like later part of the summer. And then I start getting nervous that riding season is starting to dwindle, and then I start riding to work. There's always like a weird middle ground where there's like a month that I'm like, screw it, I'm taking my car. But
So we're in the middle month, huh?
well, you know what it is? I get to the point where I don't want to be commuting on my bike. I want to take my bike out and ride it. So
Right.
like the times that I'm commuting to work in my car are usually the weekends that I'm going out and I'm putting a ton of miles on because I'm not riding every day to work.
Yeah. Well, of course, this is like the best time of year to ride because all the kids are out of school, so the traffic is
Sometimes
diminished a little bit.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
also
'cause
hot
it's
as
set-
balls.
It's hot as balls out.
But yeah,
I don't think balls are that hot though.
no.
In the heat it is.
Does anybody have one of those digital heat measuring guns?
I'm not putting it on my balls.
Oh, come on! I think that's what we need to do. Somebody needs to just go in the bathroom and just like check the temperature of their balls.
Today
I can tell you right now, mine are at least 98 degrees.
Oh, that's good. I think any colder there might be a problem. Right? But anyway, so my repairs, as you recall, my transmission bolt too it kept slipping. It seemed like it wasn't tight. I pulled the bolt back out, and because I had gotten another bolt, and it didn't have an O-ring on it. I didn't check that, so I put the old bolt, and the old bolt went right back in, no problem, and it tightened snug right up, no problem whatsoever.
No ring on it?
O-ring was on it, no trouble whatsoever. So I replaced the gasket for the top plate on the gas tank, so that's not leaking anymore. Woohoo! And I changed my brake fluid and flushed the whole system, queued it all up. It's great. I can stop now.
That's important.
It's important.
Like you couldn't
Speaking
stop
of which,
before.
I have to tell you, I could stop, but I was like, the fluid in this bike is probably 4 years old, so let me get rid of it. But I sat on Chris's bike, and his brake pedal's still bent. And
That's a custom fitting.
it's a custom fitting. And here's the thing, I have to agree with him. It is actually kind of
Right?
cool that it's bent because it's kind of like I'm like it's
Kinda like
it's kind of
makes
cool.
it gives your foot more room on the fucking the
It's weird.
even a mechanic at Eric. When he was working on my bike, he was like, I like that the foot pedal. I was like, that was caused by a car hitting me.
It's
And I just
I
left
realize it should be fixed, but it's like then you go like it's really comfortable. It's
It
kind
is
of weird.
because I could just move my toe over to it.
It's just like it's kind of weird that way. Oh, hey. So when are we going to do our long ride, Tim?
Don't ask me.
Oh, come on.
I want to do. Well, I still, to this day, how old am I now? I have not been down to fucking Cape May.
Well, damn it, dude! How many times do I tell you?
And there's a lighthouse down there that I need to
Yeah.
take pictures of.
You got to go. Well, you know what? I got a note from our
And I
motorcycle
haven't
man
been to the
listener.
Cape May Zoo, which I hear is free.
It is awesome,
Is that
dude.
true?
Yes, it is true. I've been there several times. It's
Is
beautiful.
it really free?
Yes, it is. You got to go.
Why are you looking at me, Levi?
Don't worry.
That's just how I look.
Cujo can't get in.
That's just how I look.
Yeah. All right. Well, I keep telling you, you got to come down early. When I say early, I mean before 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
He's out.
I'm out. Forget it.
You got to come down. You got to be down like 10 o'clock because it's like an hour and a half ride down there. Boom. But the EJ Cooker, our listener, told me about this event. It's a Lighthouse event. It's in I think you do like 8 of them in one day or 2 days. 2 days. It's a 2-day thing. Saturday and Sunday. It's coming up in October. I'll have to
Good
check it
riding
out.
weather.
National Lighthouse Month.
Good riding
Yes,
weather.
that might be it. Yeah, probably. And we should know. We are
I
the
almost
Lighthouse.
went for a second.
We are becoming lighthouse aficionados.
The Lighthouse men. But there's like 8 lighthouses up and down Jersey coast, and we got to go check them all out. So it's a 2-day thing. But I'll get all the details on that and we'll put it on the website.
And make it a ride.
Make it a ride. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, I have to go on a long ride. I mean, my what some people might consider long or not really long. My Round Valley run or down the shore. That's nothing.
Wait a minute. Hold
One
it.
long ride.
Wait a minute. Hold it. Wait, where is it? Right.
Yep. It's awesome.
We got an email from Matt Sabini. He's the president of the Florian's Knights Motorcycle Club and Fire Department New York Engine 71. He told me about this benefit that's happening on October 20th for the Ronald McDonald House. It's going to leave from the Ronald McDonald House out there on just north of Manhattan, and they're going to ride all the way up to Nanuet Harley Davidson, which apparently is the sister.
Yep, Hudson, yep.
Yeah, Hudson. They're going to go up there, and they want us to do a live show that day. It's a Saturday.
So talk to Rich.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So apparently you're not going to be able to do it, and you won't be able to do it because you're working. And
I would be at Bergen, but
yeah.
Talk to Richie.
So they'd want us there like 12:30.
Sister place. What?
We have a
It's in
second dealership.
Nanuet.
Yeah.
It's maybe about a half hour north of you.
It's almost exactly a half hour north.
Yeah.
When is it?
On was it October 20th? It's a Saturday.
October 20th.
It's a Saturday. So they would like us to come up and maybe do a live show there, and I told them we'd let them know. So we'll see. They're doing a 50-mile ride also. They're departing from the Ronald McDonald House. They're going to do a 50-mile ride and end up at Hudson Harley Davidson. So they wanted the band to play. They asked about it. I said, okay, well, that'd be cool. This is how much we want, but they had no budget for it. They absolutely had no budget for it. We wanted, $650,000, and they couldn't meet it. So, bastards, damn them.
Yeah. If you want, I can talk to Rich.
Yeah. Well, yeah, sure. We'll do that. We'll figure it out and see if.
He has to give you the day off.
And he has
It's
to.
not his. It's
and
not
he
up
also,
to him.
He also have to give Tim the day off too.
He'll probably have better luck with that.
Well, you could phone it in
Yeah.
if you wanted to.
Call out sick. He'll be on the radio.
That'd be funny. You call out sick, and then you're up at Hudson Hall.
That would be hysterical.
I'll tell you what. Why don't you switch days? Switch somebody from up there coming down in your spot, and you go up there for one day.
Might be possible.
I'm sure we could work something out. Yeah.
I'll go over like a fart in church if you
Yeah.
ask me. I don't know.
That would be funny just to call out sick. Is Justin there with you guys? No. This is a new guy we got on the show. His name is Bluston.
What's your name? Brown. Okay, fine. All right. But anyway, he also says, tell Tim. He says, tell Tim to get a bike because the season's almost over.
Sure. If everybody wants to chip in, I'll glad to get a bike.
Which brings us to our brand new segment here on the Motorcycle Men podcast called. Can I have a drum roll, please? Get Tim a bike. This is where we peruse Craigslist and find a motorcycle for Tim. And if the mood strikes us, we will call the owner of said bike and try to make a deal to see if he'll take donuts instead of money.
Oh, yeah.
Either that, or if that doesn't work, we're going to ask that every listener takes an envelope of its one crisp dollar bill in it, and depending on how much money we get, we're going to buy him a bike.
With that $1.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here, good news. Before we get into that, good news is last week alone, Motorcycle Men had 1,578 downloads of our show.
That's
Last
awesome.
week, 1,578. So we're doing very well.
And we appreciate that.
Yes,
greatly.
thank you very
very
much
much.
to all of our listeners who are listening to our shows, because we know we annoy the shit out of many.
Was last one a good one?
It was funny because it was kind of like a non-episode. Really.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that.
And we still had 1,100. So I don't know why, but we're doing all right now.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's good. So
Thanks very much,
if we
everybody.
had at least 1,500 people said we could get Tim a very cheap bonus. In fact, I think we could start off by getting Tim this bike right here.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it was deleted.
You fucking...
You whore.
that means it was sold.
I don't know about that, but
It was sold.
you think so?
Yeah, it said it was deleted by the user.
All right, then we're going to have to try this one here. Boop. Oh! 2 in a row. No, what the hell?
They had to be fake.
Oh, it says, why does it say Manhattan? I don't know. That's where it is. That's where it came up. Anyway, let's try the third one.
Third time's a charm.
If this one fails, we're just going to have to just go. Here we go. It's a Bergman.
Oh, yeah.
2007 Suzuki Bergman. Now, is that Bergman as in, hi, my name is Maury Bergman?
Bergman,
Or is
yes.
that
Yes.
Bergman, like as a superhero?
Bergman.
Bergman.
Yeah.
400 for 2,300 miles for $2,850, Tim.
Yeah, but Chris was showing me a trike for $1,500.
Oh, it's another one of those
It's an
things.
89.
Oh, an 89, huh?
It's an 89.
89 trike.
Are all the parts in the trunk?
Trike.
No, it looked good
You don't want to trike, bro.
Yeah, he does.
What do you want to trike for?
because I'm 20 years older than you.
Yeah, you're not 90.
I'm close to it.
All right, so
Listen, I got nothing bad to say about trikes, but they are very different.
yeah, it's a
Yes.
different ride.
Look, I get it. They're fun. And if you feel more comfortable or you have limitations and that sort of thing,
That
they're
no
awesome.
lean thing is weird.
But
Yes,
you
that-
feel the
that's-
road. You feel the road very differently because you got to remember you have two wheels that are side by side. Normally, you're on a motorcycle, your wheels are in front of you, so you're going over the road. You're hitting the same stuff. It's different feeling than when everything's next to you, and you kind of constantly have this side to side. It's a very bouncy, bumpy
Oh, I
ride.
understand that. And the thing that bothers me, and we talked about this before, is the lean thing. I don't think I can be comfortable not having a lean. It's
Well, you
very-
gotta. It's
seems
kind of
very
different.
uncomfortable.
You got to scoot your butt. Over
I know,
and
but
say,
it's
yeah.
the whole thing. I said,
That's the same thing with a spider.
yeah, well, spider's front wheel, so
That's the same kind of deal.
Well, if you end up getting a trike, we're going to put a trailer hitch on it. We're going to attach a smoker to the back, and we're going to go and party.
Yeah. Barbecue.
Well, here you go, right here, Tim. A Honda Grom for $4,000. It's with this
4,000.
They look fun.
for the stretched out thing. And again, if you feel like you're going to fall over, just stand up.
Okay,
Yeah, they're little.
They are
Oh,
little.
that's right. You know
They're
what's funny
cool
about
looking,
that
though.
picture? It makes it look big.
just looking at it, my
Because
back
you can't
hurts.
see anything else around it.
I couldn't ride in that position.
How
I'm more
about
of
a? Apparently, this lifted Jeep Cherokee qualifies as a motorcycle.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, I don't know. Don't ask me.
Ooh, what's
A
that?
'94 Honda Goldwing for $4,000.
Oh, that's nice. 94.
Something a little heavier than what you need, right?
yeah.
That's electrical item.
Here you go, right here, a Honda Ruckus.
What the fuck is that?
I think that might be.
That's exactly what it is. Oh, what the fuck is it?
Shall we call them and find out if they'll take it?
No,
No.
no,
Justin's going. Yeah.
no.
Those are cool,
Justin
yeah.
would call anybody.
That's cool.
I'd ride that.
Let's call them. Let's call
Fuck
'em.
yeah, I'd ride that.
Yeah, but you got a motorcycle already.
There's a lot of $4,000 stuff here, and I
Dude, just buy a fucking Sportster already, will you? Look at that red one right there. What's the deal with that? What year is that thing?
It's a 65,
Oh,
bro.
get it, Ironhead.
Come on, man.
Holy shit.
You know you want it.
Is that really what they look like?
Not for $4,000 now.
No, not for
fucking
$4,000.
off of that.
I don't like that seat at all.
What? You mean that's too low? Or
That's too high.
No, way too high. Yeah, it's a 65 XLH Sports, so orange and black. Does that look orange to you? That doesn't look orange. To
Even
me.
fully restored?
It's not fully restored. It,
It
needs,
needs clutch work.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't read that. No.
Yeah, so
That's like a $1,500 bike.
easily. How about
So
a quad?
The
Here we
guy
go.
thinks he's got something that's.
Well, everybody always wants more than it's worth.
Yeah.
I like how you just go for the smallest thing you could possibly find.
Well, I went to the biggest thing I could possibly find, and you.
Just insult me.
I'm not
right
insulting.
in front
Insult
of everyone.
What? There's no insulting.
No, he's going for the smaller crap, Chris. You know he's not going for the
All
ripe
right.
stuff.
All right, how about this right there? Okay, a Honda Shadow
That's nice.
750.
I've always liked them too.
All
I
right,
really have.
it's a shaft drive.
The old shaft drive.
It's a 2007.
My Virago.
Only 208 miles, barely used, runs
What?
great, garage kept, only one owner. We'll consider and review all reasonable offers.
Yeah, and you know what? And you're going to have to put tires on it immediately.
Yeah,
Immediately.
He never rode it.
I guarantee the original tires, they're fucking 11 years old.
Probably.
Yep. And how many miles?
208.
What are they asking for it?
4,000.
In 11 years.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
208
That's
miles.
wishful thinking right there.
You're right there. That means it sat too, and I always got a thing about things that sit too long.
I said
There you go. Ooh,
sometimes.
look at that, Tim. A Triumph Bonneville.
That's cool.
That's very cool.
$39.50, under $4,000. No, he's giving me a funny look.
I like it.
You have to do the you do the pricing all wrong.
What do you mean?
You do minimum price of 1,000 and maximum of 2.
Maximum of 2.
Yeah,
Oh, geez, we're gonna get some good ones this way. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
it's more interesting that way.
All right. Do you want me to put down trike?
No.
Oh, you fucking retard!
Why do I get the fucking retard? I don't understand that.
He's just saying.
He's just, hey, look, a Virago 750. And it's the same colors as what you had, Chris.
Wow, look at that.
Look at that. It's
Hold on, it's like, is that my bike?
it almost looks like it, doesn't it?
Is there a side fucking picture of that?
No, this is it. That kind of does look like your bike, doesn't it? It's the same color.
That would be some funny shit.
I don't know, man. It's
It's different colors. No, it's not your bike.
No, it's not way. I sold that thing, what, 2 years ago? I sold that thing 3 years ago. I don't think so.
Isn't that the one you had with the jacked up front end?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the guy who bought it said he was going to rip that off.
Oh.
He said he was going to put it back to its original form. But that's the same fucking seat.
Well, they all came with that seat.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Well, Viragos are very popular.
Well, there you go. 2 G's.
There you go. No, not good. No, he's not going.
Champagne taste on a beer budget. What, they don't have any 2019 Ultra Classic?
I got water budget.
Water budget. Suzuki 750. How about a Honda VFF? No. You sure you don't want to?
Oh, what's that right there? Honda Shadow 750.
That's a Honda Shadow 750. Look at it. $1,900.
Bang.
That's nice.
Shaft drive.
There you go.
It's got a new battery and a newer front tire.
How many miles on it?
We're looking. Doesn't say.
20,000. Right side.
Cash only. It's got a clean New Jersey title. Oh, he's right in Jersey. Look at that.
Jersey.
Text only. Do not in a rush to sell. Mileage will go up as I ride it.
Weird.
Mileage will go up as I ride it. As often as I can.
Generally how that works.
That's generally how.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
it generally. Speaking.
Mileage will reverse as I.
Price goes up as I ride it.
When it gets to 0, it shall explode.
How about a Jazzy Select GT seat? Would you like that?
It's like the shit you take around the supermarket.
Yeah.
It's like the shit that fucking fat people ride around Walmart.
What are you trying to say?
That fat people like to ride around Walmart. I think we've all been to a Walmart.
How about a Honda Max, an '84 Honda
Ted,
Magna?
that's what you need for your ranch.
What?
The quad.
The Polaris Quad.
Selling cheap, $1,800. You know what it looks like? It looks like one of those kids things.
You need that,
Doesn't it?
You need that's a piss poor picture.
It's a very bizarre. Here's a
Would he take that picture with a potato?
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Potato Head camera.
You need
Yeah.
that. You need that for your cabin.
I do. Well, not for the cabin, for the property. I wouldn't put it
No,
in.
no, you have to bring it in property.
What's the name of the town you're in again?
Burlington Flats.
Literally out in the middle of nowhere, Justin.
If
Look for
Out
nowhere
in
and
the
then
middle
further
of-
than that.
Yeah, look for nowhere, and then it's past nowhere.
Yeah, it's like 20 minutes outside of nowhere.
Was it like your closest store is what 50 minutes away?
No.
Something retarded. Oh, only 45.
Oh, don't call the general store a store.
There is. We have up there. There's a what they call Price Chopper, which is kind of like what Pathmark was, and it's about 20, 25 minutes away. Yeah.
You can walk around naked on your property and not worry about anything.
Yeah. And
Who said he doesn't?
Yeah, exactly.
no, there are creatures.
They don't have cameras. Don't worry.
Yeah, I know. So you're not looking for a small bike. Oh, look, here we go.
Kawasaki.
86 Kawasaki Voyager.
There we go. It looks like my ultra bike.
1500. It looks just like your Ultra Glide. Just
It's
as big.
You could take
Yeah.
that thing to Mars if you had to.
Yeah, you had to. No shit. Big bike.
And
That has flotation devices on it. You can take it in the water.
I like this. The tires have
you
3,000 miles on them and should last for 20. Bike has 35,000 miles on it.
That ain't bad at all.
Hard miles.
Hard.
Hard miles. Yes. So you want to look at Harley Davidson motorcycles? So
you
we
get up the price to $5,000.
Well, there's an 83 Harley Ironhead for $2,000, but there's no picture.
You do it all wrong. You don't know how to fucking search shit on Craigslist, do you? You got to do pictures, images only.
There you go.
Now set the second price to $4,000.
Still not gonna get anything out of this, man. I'm telling you. Updates are. I'm surprised that something came up. I'm very surprised.
Hey, is that the bike right in the middle on the bottom for sale?
I don't know. It needs a couple more for sale signs.
I don't think he's selling that one.
I don't know. Well, how about a Harley chopper for $3,500?
What about that tank?
Yeah,
That's all he's selling?
What is that? Go to that picture for a second. Click on it.
Gorgeous Kawasaki.
No,
Vulcan.
the other thing.
The other thing.
The chopper.
The one, yeah.
He's looking at the chopper.
Go to that.
That's
What is
obviously a
that?
Sportster setup.
What does that say?
That's nice.
70 styles chopper.
Just other
Ironhead
pictures. Check
motor,
the other
73. All right.
Wow.
What did I do right
That's what
there?
you're trying to build.
That's cool as hell.
Thanks for saying trying.
Well, you're not there yet. You didn't build it yet, did you?
Hey, do you want to call him?
No.
I like it, but not that much. Okay. Well, Tim, we have a whole slew of bikes here. And here's the...
And no slew of money to throw at
Well,
him.
and a 92 Sportster, a 73 Sportster, a...
All right, then know what you do is set up a Motorcycle Man Kickstarter and see if we can get any money.
All right, we can do that. We'll set up a Kickstarter to get you a bike.
All right, see what happens.
What's the bottom line cutoff
Bottom line cutoff for what?
for money? What's the least amount you could go?
Kickstarter, you might as well go for a CVO price.
Yeah.
Just let them give you whatever they give you.
No,
Fuck
just-
it.
no, you got to put.
If somebody's willing to give
gotta
you
put,
money-
you got to put your price of what your goal is.
What's your
Well, yeah,
goal?
but you can get over your goal.
Oh, sure
No,
you can.
that's not the problem.
That's what
We
I
just
said.
got to find what's
At-
the
right.
goal.
Go CVO.
At
What's
what
the
point?
goal?
Yeah. At what point is he going to say that's enough? Let's go.
We'll fucking make it low and then just let people exceed it if they want.
CVO.
4,000 sound good?
No, he's.
I don't
Is
know,
that
somebody's willing to give me fucking $30, I'll take it. I don't care.
How does
No,
that
you-
work? Now, can if it's a Kickstarter program, if you want to do
Let's
that,
put it to us. If you don't reach the price, everybody gets the money back.
right? Okay.
So
So
it's not-
now,
nobody's out.
if you do reach the price, now is this some sort of tax thing coming here?
They take a percentage because they're
Yeah, they do.
they're the fund.
Yeah, they
They're-
take it-
like
they-
you're using their.
but it's
platform.
okay. You can just go ahead and take it. It's not like you have to be a 501c.
No,
or anything.
no.
I don't know because I've never done it before.
Yeah.
So we'll do a Kickstarter. Get Tim a bike.
Should we get Tim a kickstart bike with a Kickstarter?
Now there you go.
Please don't do that, all right?
Oh man.
Because it's
Hey,
going to
listen,
sit there
the-
because my
listen,
legs will not be able to handle it.
the platform's not called Electric Starter. I'm just saying.
You're funny. All right, get the fuck out.
Shut the fuck up.
It'd be funny the first time the Kickstarter kicks back on him and
Right.
throws him over the bike. So
Right.
never know.
WTF.
Yeah.
All right, next section.
Next section. Okay, so let's get into the thing, which by now is old news. But we're going to talk about the new Harleys that
Yes.
Harley Davidson has
All been waiting
announced.
for.
It's been released, and they're saying this is what we're going to be doing unofficially. I don't know, is it official or unofficial?
I would say it's official.
I would think so. But
You
according
haven't
to
gotten-
several,
well, they're not gonna come out for
thousand
another year, right?
sources.
What's that?
Physically.
Hey Tim, you going out there?
None of these come out this year, with the
I
exception
have a
of
drink?
the.
Thank
None
you.
of these come out. None of these are even slated to come out. With the exception
2019.
of the Live Wires 2019, everything else is after that.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
As late as 2022.
Correct.
But
2022.
as
20
late
Wow.
as 22. And that's
Wow.
probably going to be the sport bike. That's what they believe that's what they're
It was
talking
either
about.
21 or 22. Yeah.
Yeah, but
The
2020.
Street Fighter.
And here's what's interesting: they say that the adventure bike, which we're going to talk about shortly, is going to be available for the 2020 year, which we know starts in August of 2019.
Correct.
So we're talking
It's a
next
year from now, yeah.
A year from now, we're going to see that bike on the
Correct.
market. Now, as a guy, me speaking personally, who wants to get that second bike, I'm like, okay, I've been eyeing up the Roadster, the Sportster Roadster, for the longest time. Now I know that this adventure bike is going to come out. Do I go for that?
Got to test ride everything first. You could all, you could do all your gum flapping right now, but
Gum flapping? Is that what this is? Is gum flapping?
This is the Gum Flappers Association.
I guess I didn't know that. The Lighthouse.
but just
men-
like anything, no, you got to ride. You might find out that you fucking hate the bike. that you don't like the way it rides, or you might love it. Who knows?
Well, like when I rode the Fat Bob, I thought I was going to hate it, but I loved it.
So I'm talking about.
And I thought I was going to like the Fat Boy, and I didn't like it.
I'm psyched about the adventure bike, but I might
Thank you,
hate
sir.
it if I ever get to test ride it.
Well, and he's bringing in snacks in here. Are those all for you? No. Everyone has to know. Everyone has to. Oh my God!
They're pot cookies.
It's a good thing that I had pot cookies.
That was a delayed reaction. Wait, did you say pot cookies?
You know, it's a good thing I cut out sugar. It actually has. I've lost 8 pounds. Don't say it's all water weight because I was water weight a month ago.
And
But-
you're drinking water.
And I'm drinking water. So anyway, so let's get back to these bikes. Let's first start looking at. Well, let's go right to the adventure bike. That's the one I think. Well, first of all, let's
You know
go
what
over
I
this.
think is kind of cool?
What's that?
I was thinking about this today before I left work. Because obviously I knew we were going to be talking about these bikes. And a few episodes back, you had posed the question to the effect of, you know, do you think Harley's going to come out with any, like, totally different... What the fuck just happened?
I don't know.
That wasn't me.
Well, that was yours?
Would you feed your iPad a cookie? One of those pot cookies?
All right, so
You
go
had
ahead.
posed a question, and you had said something to the effect of, you know, do you think Harley's going to kind of start branching out and coming out with different models? And if they do, what do you think those models are going to be? Do you think it's going to be an adventure bike? Do you think it's going to be a sport bike, that sort of thing? And then, like, 3 weeks later, pretty much everything that we were like, maybe they'll do these is what they
Yeah.
did. So I think that's kind of cool, you know, even if just for nothing else that, you know.
Coincidental.
Well, the one thing that I have to say about Harley is really good about, because you think about how much R&D goes into this stuff, right?
Oh, shit, yeah.
So when they announce it, it's not like they just thought of it yesterday.
No,
So they had to think about it for years, right? So you think by the time people start posing those questions, how they're able to come out with that shit right around that time, the amount of forward thought that comes in that
Yeah.
is pretty cool.
But I think the adventure bike, I think they really took the time. Some people are saying like it's kind of a cross between the Fat Bob.
Can you make that a bigger picture, please?
There we go.
It's got a lot of BMW-esque stuff.
Everything has a little
Well, it has
BMW-esque
to be
stuff to it, you know. And apparently, I had seen an article where people were comparing that they were using the same brakes and tires and exhaust as that appear on this bike, that bike, and that bike. Well, you know, of course they're going to, because it's not like the Harley Davidson is going to go out and start manufacturing their own tires, their own brakes, and their own exhaust. They're going to use what's available on the market.
Well, that also keeps costs down, because otherwise, if they start making their own shit, then the bike's too expensive, and everybody goes, "Oh, Harley made an expensive bike."
Well, I'll tell you
mean,
what. Well, let's hit that point right now. For me, I think that this bike is going to go at $21,000. I think that's where the price point is. What do you think, Tim?
Really? That
No, I
expensive?
think it's been more like 17 personally.
I was going to say 14.
Yeah, Justin.
I really don't know, because you know it's. I don't know. There's like so many different things that go through my mind.
Yeah. Well, you know, this thing's got the. It's got.
You're not held to it. You can come up with a
Yeah,
number.
yeah, yeah.
No, I know, but I mean, you don't know. Are they going to try and price it to sell it? Are they going to try and price it to recoup some of their money from R&D? Are they going to try and price it comparatively to the other bikes that are on that market?
I think that's what they're
I
doing.
have no
I
idea.
think that's
mean,
what they're going to do.
there's
So what do you think then?
I said dude, it's going to come around 21. It's going to be right around the area of where you're going to have the Super Tenere. It's going to be right around the BMWs. That's where they're going to be the target.
BMWs are
They're going to
ridiculously
try to
expensive.
steal. That's the people they're going to try to steal. This is going to have the brand new 1250 engine in it, which is another thing. They're introducing 5 new engine platforms: 500, 750, 927, 1000,
Are these
and
the Milwaukee
1250.
engines?
No. These are all new engines. That's what that they've announced. And they're saying that for the overseas market in Asia and India, they're going to be introducing 250s to 500s.
Oh, because they know the
Because they're going to sell them. But they're not going to be available here. So,
They don't really have a need for them here.
no.
Who the fuck would buy a Harley 250 here?
Yeah, nobody.
Nobody.
Over
Yeah,
there,
but you know what? You'd be
the
surprised.
Asian-
Only,
It would be too small of a market, I think, to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
right. I think. Well, you know what? You get a lot of the hipsters out in California would probably go for it. I'm thinking. Just saying.
It's because you can't afford anything else if you live in California.
That's
Yeah.
true too. Yeah. Right.
You can't go over 40 miles an hour.
I mean, I think right away what I see about this bike is it's got a very tall windshield for one, so which tells me it's going to be certainly roadworthy. But that seat looks like something that right away is going to get replaced right away off the top. I don't know.
You also don't know how much this is going to change between now and then.
Yeah.
There's a whole year
Yeah.
between that design. I mean, look, it could come out looking exactly like it.
Yeah.
You know, but there's a whole year between now and then that when it actually comes out, I mean, think about the amount of times you've seen concept cars and then the actual car comes out and it's different.
Yeah, and it comes out looking like a Plymouth K car. Right?
I'm sure what they're going to do is probably produce a couple of those and then take them around to, you know, kind of
See
like
what people say about
yeah, and they're
So
going to
that-
let
so that-
people ride them and they're going to get feedback and they're going to make changes accordingly.
Probably.
That's a water cooled bike.
Yep. All the new bikes are water cooled.
Wow.
Yeah.
Except the Sportster, right?
We don't know about that yet. So we're gonna move on to the next bike, which is we'll go to what they're calling the Street Fighter.
That looks. I've heard a couple of guys, a couple of friends said they were very interested in that one.
Apparently, this is going to have the new 927 engine. I believe they're calling it 927 or 972, something like that.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
You know, all the racers are going to be like, "Oh, this is going on my ninja."
You know what I don't get though? I hear a lot of comparisons to the Buell. The same thing with the adventure bike. So, well, yeah, just like the Buell Ulysses was like Harley's first, but no, it wasn't. What everybody keeps forgetting is that these bikes have the Harley Davidson badge on them. All those other bikes had the Buell badge on them, so they weren't Harley Davidsons. Maybe they had the Harley Davidson engine for a little while, but after that they had the Buell engine. So
Good
these
point.
are Harley Davidson motorcycles and Harley Davidson
Well,
engines.
this is going to open up a whole new can of worms as far as people, you know, like you were talking about Harley bashing. This is a perfect example because nobody's ever happy. So they say,
Right.
well, Harley doesn't know how to change anything. Harley's just old-fashioned Harley, blah, blah, blah. And then they come out with new shit like this and they're like, what's Harley doing thinking that, oh, how can I compare that to this and how can I do that, and blah, blah, blah. And it's all kinds of, you know, it's like you're never going to,
You're never
no
gonna
matter,
please
even
everybody.
if you give somebody exactly what they wanted, they're not going to be happy. You take this year with, you know, for the longest time, everybody said Harleys are too heavy, they handle like shit,
fuck
you know,
By people that never
all this
rode
sort
them.
of stuff, and then so they eliminated the dyno. They came out with a brand new softail frame. It's lighter, stronger, more powerful. Literally all three of the things that people complained about. Oh, they're underpowered. They handle like shit. You know, that sort of thing. And now they came out with it, and everyone's like, "Wow, how could they eliminate the dyno?" Blah blah. It's like, because, look, you asked for it, we fucking did it. Now, you know what I mean? Like,
Dude,
it's like you can't ever just say thank you.
I don't think I've ever turned it, but this cracks me up to no fucking end with the fucking Dyna thing. The Dyna people out there, they crack me up with this. I actually seen it on Harley forums. Somebody said it on our page. A number of people actually said it. With all, you know, when people are up in arms, Harley Davidson, you know, losing money or they're
Attention,
they're
Justin from Bike and Bird Motovlog. This is not directed at you.
Yeah, no, this is not you. Yes, it is. No, it's not. No, I have no idea what you're talking about. But anyway, I actually seen people write that Harley's going down because they're not making a Dyna anymore. The fucking most retarded thing I ever fucking heard in my life.
Yeah, it's funny.
And somebody you and I know actually said those exact words to me as well. That's why they call Dyna. They don't make fucking Dyna.
Here's what I can tell you. A lot of the guys that first came in that were guys that rode dynos were guys that were upset with the fact that they eliminated the dyna, have since rode the new Softails. And a lot of them, and I appreciate this, a lot of them were willing to admit that they were really surprised and impressed with the new bikes and changed it to them. Because I will tell you something,
Good.
when somebody makes a big stink and then has to go back and eat their words, it's not easy. Most people will find a way not to do that.
Yeah,
and
right.
a lot of people, both on the internet and in person, who originally went out and had all kinds of shitty things to say, have kind of come back and been since like, well, you know what, I said a lot of shit, but these bikes are really awesome.
Yeah.
And they are. And, you know, I think what I personally think that is really cool right now about what Harley's doing is Harley, for, you know, the longest time, everybody was kind of like, well, they just kind of stayed classic, stayed traditional, and that sort of thing. And what's cool is they've kind of gotten the mindset, okay, we got to try some different things and see what's up and see what works and get different people in and different styles. But they're not jumping ship on the original stuff.
No,
I saw a really
no.
cool hashtag the other day. I honestly, I can't remember who posted it. But the hashtag was in regards to this new stuff. And it said, protect the core and offer more. And I was like, that's awesome.
That is cool.
Because,
I like that.
you know,
Yeah.
here they're saying, look, you want the traditional stuff, you want to go out and buy a Fat Boy, you want to go out and get a Heritage, you want a Road King, excuse me, that sort of thing, boom, we got it. But if you want some new shit and we're going to try some stuff different, you want an adventure bike, you want the naked bike, you want the electric bike, we're there too.
Yeah.
And I think
that's
I
great.
think it's a ballsy move.
I think that's great.
And I think it's a really cool move. And I think no matter what happens, whether they're incredibly successful or whether it's a major flop or somewhere in the middle, the one thing I can assure you is we are experiencing history right now. This is going to be one of those periods of time on the Harley timeline that you will look back and be like, we were there for that. I remember that happening.
It's cool as hell.
I mean, like it's no different than like when one of those things that you look back when AMF bought Harley and when it became Harley again and when all these different like timeline points. This is big right now. This is big right now.
Yeah, because the bikes they're making is
this is a
mind-boggling.
major change.
Never thought I would see that.
This whole thing that's happening now with Harley, this is a game changer for Harley Davidson fans. Like a rabid fan like I am. When I see that, okay, Harley Davidson's doing the naked bike, the adventure bike, and
the street bike,
and
I
the
can't
electric
believe
bike, you go like, well, this is going to change the whole dynamic of the person who walks through the door now.
Totally.
Yep.
But at the same time, I have to kick myself and remind myself that although they're walking through the door now to go after this naked bike, in 15, 20, 25, maybe 30 years, they're going to be coming back through the door looking at the traditional bikes that we know and love now.
Of course.
Yeah, they were buying that bike anyway. It's a matter of whether they're buying it from Harley or they're buying it from somebody else.
Exactly.
When we had the podcast where we talked to the other people from other states, other podcasts,
Sure, yeah.
we were talking to them about, I think it was the Harley bashing one actually.
Yeah.
We were talking to them about what they rode and how it was different and why they liked Harleys, but why they liked their respective bikes. You know, it'll be interesting to see if people can truly be open-minded enough to who are those kind of alternative to Harley riders, if they're willing to come in and be like, hey, you know what? Let me check these out, and maybe I get a Harley, even if it's not a traditional Harley. Maybe now, you know, somebody who is riding a other brand naked bike or another brand, what do you have it? That maybe they give Harley a shot.
Yeah, I
You never
mean,
know.
they have plenty. I think they have plenty of leeway and plenty of room here to experiment with what they're going to be delivering to everybody. They show us they're proposing right now.
It opens the door to allow Harley to be more of a motorcyclist brand now than versus just a biker brand. And
Right.
what I mean
Okay,
by that
good
is,
point.
you know, you have a lot of motorcyclists that don't want that traditional cruiser. They're guys that want the off-road performance or the power and the speed and the different kind of shit. And now this stuff brings in a motorcyclist rather than just, you know, the guy who wants to throw
Right.
on leather boots and 8
I'll tell you what's
rings.
really going to affect this bike, especially this bike in particular, the naked bike. What's going to affect that is how it's reviewed by the media.
Wow.
Not so much like podcasters.
You're
but-
always going to have, you know what sucks about
Right.
the whole.
You're going to have that. You're going to have
always
haters.
going to have Harley haters.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, but
No matter what they do right, and
Right.
they could be better than every other fucking bike out there, but you're always going to have those cocksuckers that are always going to hate on them no matter what.
Well, I'll tell you what. You're gonna get the guys in the media that are going to want to, like, magazines and whatever, that we're going to want to get. All of them are going to be chomping at the bit to get on this bike. And
that's 100% true.
you know, and once they do get on this bike, at the end of that ride, when they get off that bike, they're going to say, "Okay, here's my review. It's great. It's a piece of crap." One of those, and there's There's no gray area. It's going to be one or the other.
Oh, it's for Harley Davidson. It's going to be.
It's going to be one or the other. With Harley, there's no gray area.
No, because of how everybody views it.
And if they say it's great, if this becomes like Motorcyclist Magazine Bike of the Year, or Rider Magazine Bike of the Year, Harley Davidson is going to get accolades like you do not believe. What?
Zoom in
A little bit more.
Oh man, that's very cool.
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember what magazine it was. I'm trying to see if I can.
Hang on a second. I'm trying to find an email that I had, conversation that I had with our friend Steve Lita from American Iron Magazine. Yeah. Steve Lita says he's stoked. He loves the concepts, but annoyed that the press release said Harley's first adventure touring bike. The Buell Ulysses is a very capable adventure touring bike. Love the Buell Ulysses. Would love to find a good used one to buy. And another example of how Harley shit all over Buell. But the 3 concept bikes were cool. Obviously water-cooled, right in the Sportster sweet spot. Naked standards are all the rage these days. I've always been a naked standards guy, and he still has his Honda Nighthawk. But Harley needs to diversify its offerings. The world is changing. Dinosaurs die off. So that's what Steve Lita for American Iron Magazine had to say about that.
Rider Magazine.
Yes.
Last year, which tends to be more of a
dual sport street.
Yeah,
bike
it's not your typical Harley magazine.
It's not. Although Harley has been like their bike of the year, like 3 of the last 4 years.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
So last year, they were doing bike of the year, and they had all these different particular models.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And then they didn't even so much as pick a model from Harley. They said the Milwaukee 8 touring line, like period. Any one of them, that's our bike of the year. Which for a non-traditional,
it's a non-cruiser based magazine.
To say that's big. So I mean, to our point, we're saying there's always going to be haters, and that's 100% true. It does seem that a lot of people, conversely, are open to what Harley's doing.
I think that's great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So listen, I'm excited to see what happens.
Now the next bike I want to talk about is this bike, which
that looks cool as hell.
Which has people confused. It has me confused. They're calling it because they don't have a name for it. They're calling it a custom 1200. They're not saying this is. Some people are saying this is probably a Sportster replacement. However, my sources are saying that the Sportster is not going away.
Those tires are huge.
They are.
This gives me the impression this is like 48-ish, because the 48 has the big tires front and back. But if you look at this bike, it's stretched out a little bit longer. Somebody tried to compare this to a V-Rod, and I'm like, I don't see it.
What?
No.
I swear to God, somebody tried to, and I don't see it. I do not see it. It's water-cooled, yes. It's got the high pipes on it, and it's got the obviously brand new engine. I think this is the 1200.
Almost like a track bike.
I don't know, man.
It's got like a tracker exhaust.
Yeah,
right.
And it's got that very uncomfortable looking cafe seat. But
yeah,
there's less.
It looks cool as hell.
It does.
I like
it
the
really
way
does.
looks.
I mean, it looks fucking cool.
There's less information about this than there is the adventure bike, which everybody seems.
If
to
I'm not
remember.
mistaken, that was one of the later to be introduced bikes. No, wasn't that like a 21 or 22?
Yeah, this is going to be the 21 and 22. So is the sport bike.
So that's going to change a lot.
It's probably going to change a little bit.
See that seat on.
I don't think that this is a Sportster replacement or a derivative thereof. I don't think so. 'Cause like I said, I was told through various channels that the Sportster is not going away. It's going to remain in its current form because it's kind of like it's
That's
lower
big
to
seller
middle
for Harley. Yeah, no.
What, the Sportsters?
Yeah.
Still a ton of them. Who knows?
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is that in about 2 weeks now, 3 weeks, we're gonna know a whole hell of a lot more when they do the live webcast.
Oh, they're doing another live webcast in 2 weeks?
Well, they're doing the dealer show. That's when they announce the new bikes.
Really? Well, where's that going to happen?
Where?
Yeah.
What? The dealer show?
Yeah.
It's California.
Can we go?
No, but you can watch it.
I can?
So
Are you-
where
are
is
you-
that going to be?
They do it live on the
that thing called the internet.
Yeah. You can watch them literally unveil all the new models right there.
Okay, we're going to... Yeah, you're going to know exactly when that's going to happen.
I will know exactly when that's
And you were going to tell me when that's exactly
I
going to
will
happen.
tell you exactly when that's
Because
gonna
I will, even if I'm at work, I'm going to stop working. I
Yeah,
want to
I
watch
want to
it.
watch that too.
Okay.
All right. The next bike we're going to go over to, which is probably the most anticipated motorcycle in history, I think for every company in the world, is the Harley Davidson Livewire.
Bold statement.
It is, because Harley announced it, 3 years ago?
At least, because, yeah, at least.
Yeah, 3 years ago. And at that time, they said in 5 years it's going to be out. So it was 4 years ago. Yeah. And they're saying that this is going to be available 2019. So the question is, does that mean it's going to be out?
I thought they said later 2019, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, all I remember is 2019. So that I'm suspecting that we'll probably see it sometime in the summer.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have it
I don't think
first
so.
week in September.
But still know nothing about it as far as it goes, if it's range, its charge time.
You test rode one, right? If I'm correct.
I rode one. Yeah, I'll be honest, it was really cool.
Was it?
You know.
You
Here,
said, I remember
listen,
you saying it was
you-
very weird because the acceleration, it's always
instant.
there.
It's instant.
Yeah.
So you know me, as far as what my style is motorcycle-wise. I mean, what you have on your wall right there, that flathead. I mean,
I like
that is my style all day long.
I love that.
And when the Livewire, when I had the opportunity to ride the Livewire, CVO breakout. When I had the opportunity to ride the Livewire, to be honest with you, I almost didn't. One of the other guys I work with was like, "Did you ride it yet?" And I was like, "Nah." I was like, "It's not really my thing. It looks like a sport bike. I'm not really a sport bike guy." I was like, not really that interested. Electric bike man. And it was like, well, you should at least ride it so that you have the experience to talk about it, whether you like it or whether you don't. At least have the experience. And I was like, that's a good point. And I got on and I came back. I had this huge smile on my face. I was like, man, that thing was totally wild. I mean, because it's unlike any other riding experience, with the exception of the fact that you're on two wheels and you have handlebars.
Yeah.
You don't hear anything. You don't have to shift. It's not geared. It's just instant on-demand power. It almost feels more like
A scooter.
it feels almost more like
That's what my
like
scooter
an,
was.
like an amusement park.
Scooters are loud, though.
It feels like an amusement park ride, like some shit
Well,
that you
let
would
me
ride
ask
when you're on the
this.
boardwalk or something.
Well, you've ridden it. And the one question that I haven't been able to get answered from anybody, when you're riding an electric bike, now the guys over at Cleveland Metal, they talk about this because a couple of their guys, there's a whole story there. But anyway, when you turn that throttle, is there a delay or is it instant? As soon as you start to roll, you're moving. Like, for example, with a scooter, when you turn that throttle, there's somewhat of a delay, and then it kind of like catches on. Let's go.
When I rode it, it was instant.
Oh, it's
Now-
there we go.
Now, here's the other thing, though, and I don't know what they've changed since, if anything, but there was different modes that you had,
Right.
and depending on the mode you're in, determined kind of how long the battery lasted. So there was modes like a sport mode where you have like your most power and obviously your shortest battery, and then you have some sort of like commuter mode where you're going to have less power and longer battery life, and yada yada
Did that
yada.
govern the speed as well?
I would imagine the top speed would just be the same, but it's really about on-demand power. So I don't know how much that plays into effect as far as lag time and that sort of thing.
Right.
But no, I mean, to me, I didn't get on it, or I didn't get off it and think like, oh man, there was no response and it was a sloppy throttle and this. I didn't feel that way.
No. So, but again, the things we don't know about is previously it had a 58-mile 58-mile range, and a charge time of 8 hours. So, I have to imagine now with a level 2 charger, battery technology has advanced dramatically since then. Cleveland Moto had on a guy, I can't remember his name, but he's riding a Zero electric motorcycle, and he's been riding around the country on this thing. He'll ride for 2 hours, charge for 40, and then he's going like a little over 200 miles on his charge.
Charge for 40 what?
Minutes.
Okay.
So if you can ride for 2 hours, charge for 40 minutes, that's nearly acceptable.
Yeah, it's doable.
He says in that 40, he says you'd be surprised. In 40 minutes, you think it's a long time, but in 40 minutes, you're going inside to the shop or whatever. You're getting a cup of coffee, you're using the bathroom, you're getting some tea, maybe sit down and have lunch, talk to some people. And he says invariably, every time he stopped, he got into a conversation about the bike, and before he knew it, the 40 minutes was done and he was on his way. So after that conversation, listening to him talk about this, I'm going like, it almost sounds like a pretty damn cool idea. He says he rode entirely around the country on $10. He did not spend any
so
money
where
on
was
fuel.
he charging this thing, and who was
Any-
allowing him to charge?
Anywhere he could charge. And he said most of the time he would go to campgrounds like a KOA campground, or he would stop at a gas station or any place that had charging stations, and he charged, and it wouldn't cost him anything. He says one place he stopped at was at a campground, and he says, "Can I? If I gave you $1.50, you let me charge my bike?" He goes, "Don't worry, but just plug it in."
You know what? I'm sitting here and I'm absorbing all this and all the all the crap that I would give electric bikes, and now I'm really starting to think about it.
This is what
and I'm
I'm
like,
saying.
you know what's going to happen? I was
You're
like,
gonna love it.
no, not
You're
not
gonna
that.
fucking love it. That's what's gonna happen.
This is gonna just bring out a whole bunch of certain group of people that are just gonna latch onto it.
Yeah.
And it's going to create this mass little bubble of these things.
A niche.
It's going to be super popular. They're going to sell. Then it's going to be like a fucking war between the old fucking dinosaur burning fucking motorcycles and then the new people groups riding around with the electric motorcycles.
And they know what's going to
That's
happen.
what's going to happen.
Somebody down the road is going to discover that the infrastructure is not supporting as many electric bikes as there are out there, and they're going to say electric bikes are costing us way too much money because there are so many of them. I don't know what to say, but anyway, but you know what? Tell you what though, and I've said it before. I think it's cool as hell. I think it's really neat. It's the style, like you had said, it's not my style.
You know what's interesting though? When you ride it,
Yeah.
it looks like a sport bike. It doesn't feel like one position-wise when you're on it.
Really?
I was looking at it thinking, I'm not going to be humped over the tank. You know, like the way you sit on like a Ninja or something where you're like humped over the tank and your like wrists are all bent and it's just uncomfortable for me. I didn't feel that way.
Did you
it's
feel
a
like
lot more
an
upright.
like an upright Sportster?
It's a lot more. It's honestly, it's more comparable to the Roadster, I would say.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay, that's where I was headed with that. Yes. Now,
Yeah.
I dig the Roadster. I
Yeah,
love that
it's
bike.
very similar in position, honestly.
But I tell you
See,
what,
okay,
Go
what
ahead.
I'd say is Harley would be smart if they made every Harley dealer a charging point.
you're absolutely right. You
know,
you
if
hit
they-
it right on the head right there. Absolutely right.
Every Harley dealer should have a charging point there
Well-
so they could charge their bikes.
They have to
Here-
have their own infrastructure, right?
Well, So, obviously, infantile stages, this whole thing. But the other thing that's got to be considered is any dealer that's going to be selling these is not only going to have to be equipped to charge them, but to service them, work on them, that sort of thing. So,
yeah.
I would imagine, at least in the beginning, that there are going to be select dealers that do and don't carry them, because it's not as simple as just sending some of these bikes and saying, okay, now you sell them. If you're a dealer that's going to take on selling these bikes, you have to have technician training to work on them.
Right.
You have to have the tools and the equipment to be able to work on them.
Right.
The charging stations. There's a lot that comes with taking on these bikes other than just putting them on your showroom floor and selling them to people. So, you know, we're in a very unique area around here because we're in the New York metropolitan area. You have a lot of people. You have a lot of money. You have a lot. You know, something tells me that, you know, some of these dealers that are out in the Midwest where they're, you know, where everything is kind of few and far between and they're in these big wide open areas and there's not a lot of people in towns, I don't know how quick those dealers are, at least in the beginning, are going to be to jump into taking on that kind of investment to find out that potentially nobody wants it
Yeah. Well, how
in
many-
their area.
What does, for example, how many Harley Davidson dealers do we have here in New Jersey? I mean, off the top of your head, how many can you think of? I could think of 6 easily. And
But look at the era we're in, though.
I know. So
Metropolis.
there is plenty of, I would say, places available where the infrastructure could support such a bike. I've said it before. When Harley Davidson takes this technology and slaps it into a heritage, just talk to me. Then that's that because
See, I almost feel like that would be, if they ended up making like an electric heritage,
Not anytime soon.
I feel like that's what you'd really, really, really have to ease into, in my opinion, because that's when I feel like people would start losing their shit.
Oh, yeah.
because now
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
encroaching on the traditionalists.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you have such a, I feel like, niche market when you take a traditional bike and add that kind of modern mix, you know, because the traditionalist isn't going to want that modern and the modernist isn't going to want it to look traditional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that's such a small window. I'm not saying that there's not people, but I feel like that's a little bit more of a gamble than saying, hey, look, we're going to
Well,
make the
wouldn't
shit
you
that we always made, but we're going to try some new
But
stuff
wouldn't you
too.
say it would be interesting, though? An interesting test to see if people would be interested in that sort of.
Poll. Chrome poll.
I think you're right. I think there should be a chrome pole for that. All right, we'll do that up. I think so. I think we'll do that up.
See, when you look at that electric bike, when I see it, it looks like that whole center section, the engine, so
It's
lack of a better word,
huge.
it looks like a cartridge. Like you could pull it out and plug it in another one.
Well, because that's basically it's a battery.
Pretty much. That's
That
all.
whole middle section is basically just
What's
a
the
battery.
weight on it?
I don't know.
We have no specs on any of this stuff.
Because that looks heavy as shit.
Batteries are heavy.
They are.
Yeah.
Now, the one if you could go to find Google Harley electric bike,
Yep.
because they put out a picture of a couple other
Oh yeah.
the electric bikes.
Yep.
That fucking one is awesome looking.
They've got they got a.
You talking pictures?
Yeah.
Is that
Ted, look up pictures, not what you're looking up.
Well, all right.
Let's go back.
Add pictures at the end of what he told you to type.
Well, you
Hang
can
on.
just-
Waiting for the internet to respond.
Just do.
What the hell happened here?
Oh my God!
I-
Where the
stop.
fuck is your sound? Where is your sound?
Just go to
Images. Look at Ted. It's
Go
just
to
click on images.
You're right.
All right.
There you go.
Okay, that second one. Yep. Dude, that's fucking awesome. If they make that, I think
This
that's so
would
cool.
see. This is
kinda like
now.
the way
If
that
you
That is
recall,
so cool.
if you recall, Harley Davidson is paired up with Alta
That looks cool.
electric motorcycles.
I kinda
Remember
like
that? We talked about that a while ago. This, I think, is what we're talking about, that marriage between Harley Davidson and Alta motorcycles, because that configuration of that engine looks exactly what Alta's engines look like. Now, if you want,
I think that bike. I mean, dude, honestly, if they made that, I would consider just having that as a knockaround thing because it looks fucking sweet.
Like a bar hopper.
It looks awesome.
Yeah.
They're Alta Motors. There you go. And hello.
Sorry to 14.4 ball.
There's the Alta electric bike.
Yeah,
All
similar
right.
looking.
Yep. See, and then we go. Boop.
That looks more like a dirt bike. I like Harley's version. That's
See,
better.
it's. I think
cool.
I think what you're saying happening here is Harley Davidson and Alta going, okay, let's do this, and then of course then they're coming out with the electric bikes
fuck
and all
is
that.
Like
Well,
a
here's the
bicycle.
thing.
Is that a bicycle?
E-bike, what they're calling e-bikes,
Right.
e-bicycles is, believe it, it's like all the rage now. Everybody's selling e-bikes. Specialized is selling them. A bunch of other companies are selling e-bikes. This is for people who maybe can't ride a bicycle like they used to, and they want to keep riding a bicycle. This little bit of aid here. You don't have to pedal as hard. You can go just as far or further.
New York City,
Exactly.
Prime-
That's exactly what that is.
prime example.
And this little thing here in the morning that looks kind of like a scooter thingy. Kids going to school or whatever the case may be. That's exactly what we're looking at.
We are entering the Jetsons.
Pretty much. And speaking of noise, I have read that all of the electric motorcycles that are out there, none of them make the badass sound like Harley Davidson's makes. Apparently, Harley Davidson's electric motorcycle makes a really cool ass sound.
Is that true?
Go if you does that have sound up there?
Yeah, yeah. We can get
Go
that.
to YouTube Livewire sound.
Oh, really? Now, why do you got to give me the sound? I just got to go here to this little button here, go YouTube, and then
Still
type
ain't
in
there.
live.
You might have to do Harley Livewire. I'm not sure.
All right, we'll do that. Harley Livewire sound, and which
There
one?
used to be. There was like an 8-second clip that used to be out a while ago. It was just it riding by once.
Live start and sound. The second one. Yeah, but is that the?
No.
No, that's the motorcycle. That's the sound.
That's cool. You know what that fucking sounds like? Totally. Reminds me of Tron. The Tron bikes. That's badass.
That's
Yeah,
really.
but I don't know.
freaking-
Is that the sound of the bike or is that the sound of the machine it's
No,
on?
most of what you hear
That's what
is
you said,
no,
yeah.
but most of what you hear.
Here we go. Another one. Start and sound. Right.
Most of what you hear is the.
I think because any video I've seen,
This is a shit video.
pretty much. Sorry about that.
Hold on, get that crap out of here. See how he's going through
Yeah.
the display, and you can pick which mode you want to be in and how much power you've got and that sort of thing. You're literally staring at like a computer screen like that, like a control module.
So it's on. That's what's cool about this. It's on. Already. There's no noise. It's just on.
Okay, play the fucking sound. I don't care about it. Can't understand him anyway.
That's all.
Yep. I want one now. Sounds like
So
a
listen,
Tron bike.
so the whine that you hear is the bike. That like
yeah.
that's the machine that it's on. That's the rollers.
That's badass, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So there you
It
go.
sounds like the Tron. It sounds like the Tron bike.
That's like I said. Apparently none of the other electric bikes sound like that. They don't have a sound like
Well, you know what's interesting is originally, I don't want to speak out of turn here,
that. Please do.
but
That's what we do.
yeah, I know. We say stupid shit, so you don't have to. To my knowledge, when they first came out with the bike, it had no sound, and they added that sound so you had a sound. If I'm not mistaken,
I had heard something like that too.
Someone wrote that.
I could
like
be
it.
mistaken. But
I like it.
I do know that what I've heard from this gentleman that was on Cleveland Moto podcast, and he was saying it's great to be riding around the country. You're on two wheels. You know you're riding a motorcycle. You feel you're riding a motorcycle, but you don't hear anything but the wind going by your head.
It is
A little-
super weird
Yeah, a little
when
little-
you're
this was
riding.
concerning. Yeah.
I will tell you that part was interesting. You hear shit that you don't ever hear.
But now that they've added this sound to the live wire, I think it'll add a certain comfort level to everybody.
Yeah,
who's
but it's
gonna ride
still
it.
it's still weird because you still hear so much that you never are used to hearing. Because even if you're on a stock pipe bike that everybody's like, oh, it's quiet, there's still a lot of noise
Yeah,
that you don't consider until you ride something that is almost noiseless.
Yeah, I know.
It's a totally unique experience.
So okay, let's get to this now. So price point, I thought the 21,000 on the adventure bike, and you said 17, and you said you know what you
I
refused to
pleaded
guess.
the fifth. Yeah,
I lowballed it. I went to 14.
Okay, as far as goes for the sport bike, I'm thinking 12.
I'm with you.
15.
I'm with you.
I'm hoping 12 or less.
Yes.
Okay, the 1200, I'm thinking.
The one bottom right corner?
Yeah, I'm thinking probably 14.
18.
No. The 1200? The 1200?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to go to 10.
Yeah. Now the big one, the live wire. I'm thinking
45.
I'm thinking 18.
I think now.
18,000.
Yeah, but new technology, I'm going to go high on this one. I'm going to say 20.
You're probably not far off, is my guess. My guess.
New tech, they're going to really jack it up.
Well,
for
and
now.
here's the other thing you got to remember. We were talking about this before. The amount of money that they had to spend.
Like
I'm
you were
sure,
talking about price points. So.
I'm sure that they just had to spend just dollar figures that would make all of our brains bleed to try and get that thing to where it is now. So they can't sell that thing at $9,000. They'd have to sell them from now until fucking 2018 to probably put a dent in what it cost them to produce it. So I would imagine it's probably going to be.
I think that, if they sell it for a reasonable price, I mean 18.
Do you think 18 to 20 is reasonable for it though? That's the question.
Honestly, I have to tell.
You
I have
know,
to tell you right now. No,
the
I
haters are going to go no. But the thing is, if you look at Zero, I mean, we can go right now. Look at this. I can tell you, Zero bikes are not cheap. Zero motorcycles are over $10,000. And again, it's not a. Although guys are riding the bikes around, it's not a. You're not going to say, okay, well, let me go out for a 300-mile ride today. You got to ride for 2 hours, charge for 40, ride for 2 hours, charge for. It's going to take you all freaking day.
Forget what you think Harley's gonna do. if you had to just say, look, we can price it anything we want. We want to price. If Harley was asking you, what's a reasonable price point in your brain for that bike? What's your answer?
15.
You?
Yeah, I think he's right. 15 sounds about right.
12.
But what's
I'm
your
just
answer?
thinking I want it to be popular for Harley.
No.
I want it to be
yeah,
viable for people. I think 12 for.
I think at 15, people will bite the bullet.
You could buy. I mean, you could buy a street bob and shit for like
Right.
around
See, that's what
15,
I'm saying.
so-
Right now, you can buy all these. You can buy the Sportsters. You can buy all the Softail line. Pretty much right between the 15 to 18,000 mark. If they make this the Livewire in that competitive range, now people are gonna maybe I can do this or do that.
Who do you think the customer is that's buying the Livewire?
Everybody.
Preppies.
I don't think it's.
Do you think they're city people?
Yeah, I think
Because,
so.
I mean, here's the
Yeah,
thing.
I think it's going to be
Yep.
city.
Here's the other thing you got to consider.
You're urban guys.
Yeah, I think it's gonna
Somebody
be
who
urban guys.
lives in a place like New York City, right? That maybe commutes to work or
Or close
whatever the
by.
case may be. They're already spending stupid money anyway. They're making stupid money, but they're spending stupid money. So
Yeah.
if you're going home to a studio apartment for $4,500 a month, an $18,000 electric bike is not an absurdity.
It's not. No, absolutely not.
You know
But
what I mean?
if you're
you
living
got to
in-
remember both sides of the coin.
Yeah, if you're
I mean,
living in suburban
Can
New
you get up
Jersey,
can you get up the stairs and in the elevator? And
yeah, oh, right. I mean, if you're living in suburban New Jersey and you have a modest income, you might, if you, I think, for example,
Well, there's going to be definitely price.
well,
points
take
for
like
people
a
that
guy
think
for
it's
you.
too
So how
expensive.
long is your commute in the morning usually during the day?
it's no less than a half hour
Would
at
not-
any given point.
If given the opportunity, would this be your ideal way to get to work?
Well, I'll tell you this. I mean, from a cost perspective, if you got to
I'd
consider,
use it to go to work.
well, think
Yeah.
about this though. It may so it's 18,000. You say, well, is that expensive? But you spend no money on gas,
Yeah, I know.
so that 18,000 pays you back really fucking quick, depending on what you drive now.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
well,
Because
also,
if you're
well,
spending $100 a week on fuel, you're spending $5,200 a year on gas, right?
Yeah,
So in 3 years, if it's 15 grand,
you paid
it literally
off.
just bought itself.
Exactly.
That's a good way of thinking about
No,
it.
for-
And,
you
and
gotta also
realistically, you're going
consider
to own it more than 3 years.
Well, consider this also.
it really works for me.
For you, you could charge your bike on Monday and not have to charge it again for a year.
Even if it had a 20-mile code
Yeah,
capacity,
exactly,
it
yeah.
still wouldn't have to charge it for a year.
Considering a year ago, I could fill up my bike, and I got a 5-gallon tank. I could fill it up for $6. Now it's costing me over $10 to fill it up.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Mine's
And-
closer to 20.
Yeah.
Back and forth for me, it's a 50-mile ride for me. Door to door, it's 50 miles. I'm getting 3 trips, roughly a day and a half of commuting. I to work, home, to work, got to fill back up again. So, if I could save myself some cash, would this be the way to go? And then the only thing that concerns me is about the sound. Is people barely hear me now with my bike. Are they going to hear me on this?
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
I mean,
know.
hey, that's just an issue for riders. Period.
Yeah, but
No matter what you do.
But I think at 15K would be even at 18K. I think it would be competitive enough.
Well, like I said, excuse me, at the $100 a week in fuel,
Yeah.
which for a lot of vehicles and for a lot of commutes nowadays is not, I don't think is an inflated number. It's not an outrageous number, I don't think. Even if they sold it at 18K, after 3 years, with it paying you basically back 15 of that 18,
Yeah.
it costs you $1,000 a year to own that bike.
Yeah.
Now, I think if somebody started saying, "Hey, would you buy this bike for 18 grand?" or if somebody said, "Would you be willing to give us $1,000 a year for it?" I think there's a lot of people that would say, "Hell yeah."
Yeah. I think so.
You know what I mean? It's less than $100. It's like what's it like $85 a month?
Well, you also
Something like
gotta,
that?
You also got to consider that you're not going to be riding it every day anyway.
Agreed.
You know,
Right.
that's you're talking about 50%.
I tell you what,
of
but the
time.
people who have the fair weather, like the folks down south in Florida, along
You
the
could
Gulf
ride it
Coast,
every day in California.
in California, you're going to ride this thing nearly every freaking day. You're
Right.
going to be a happy camper, But the thing about all four of these bikes right here, the one thing I think that's going to exclude some people, and again, I'm not poking fun at anybody, but the geometry of these bikes may eliminate people small stature from getting these bikes.
The unfortunate thing about the sport of motorcycling is that it is not short people friendly.
It's not adjustable.
And you know, it sucks because I have a lot of people that come in that are just really short and they've always wanted to do it, and there's not something that they can fit on comfortably. And part of it, like you said, is just it comes down to a math and geometry
What are you
issue
talking
where
about short? What do you mean short?
But Tim, what's your? I'm not saying you're short, Tim. But what's your inseam?
129.
That's your inseam.
You're not short.
So that right away, like for example, this adventure bike.
you get people in that are 4'10", 4'11". There's very little bikes that they fit on comfortably.
Yeah,
And you can only lower a bike
so much.
so
yeah.
far, even if it's the design right off the
Well,
bat.
yeah. And what's the lowest bike? The
Slim, but
Slim.
but the thing that you got to remember is there's two ways that a bike is going to stay low for people. It's how low your seat height, but it's also how wide the bike is, because it doesn't matter how low it is, the wider it gets, it's spreading your legs wider. And
You're
it's
now
shrinking.
shortening
You're
your
shortening
limousine.
it. You're shortening it
Yeah.
that way. Might as well be taller and thinner. It's the same thing.
bikes are inherently tall.
Correct. But that's that's a perfect lead into what I was just going to say, is that sport bikes are tall because you need the lean angle. And the reason that you can't shrink a bike just to kind of any amount is because it won't be able to lean. You maneuver a
Right.
bike
Yeah.
based on leaning it, and if it's too low, you're going to be scraping and grabbing every little thing,
Right.
even at low speed, forget high speed. And a bike is dangerous as all hell if every time you're leaning it, something's grabbing and scraping.
Right, and I had to explain to somebody the other day that the difference in handling between a bike that has a 26-inch seat height and a bike that has a 29 or 30-inch seat height is going to be dramatically different, because now your center of gravity is in a different location, and that bike is going to handle way different. You know, this is why again, you gotta. People should go to a bike that suits their size. Like for example, this adventure bike, I guarantee this adventure bike will probably have a 34-inch seat height.
Well, if it's anything like the BMWs, those were really
They're
tall.
monstrous, yeah.
BMWs are so
I guarantee
tall.
this sport bike is probably going to have, I'm looking at 32, 30 maybe. The Livewire is probably going to be around 29 to 30, and this 1200 Custom will probably have like a 28 seat height.
All those bikes are viable.
They're
for
pretty high.
Anybody. I mean,
28, I think, sounds high.
Well, again,
I think that's going to be one of
take the
lower
Roadster.
ones.
What's the Roadster seat height? The Roadster seat height is 29.
Yeah, but the Roadster even looks like it's pitched higher. I don't know. I would think that.
I would say 27, 28. That's where I'm looking at. But anyway. But again, for example, a guy like Tim, I know you couldn't. Any one of these bikes would make it uncomfortable for you.
Possibly, yeah.
Nah, I don't
but it's
know.
not-
You
they-
got
Again, it's the weight.
You got to ride on them.
And again, it's the weight also.
Because you're not a fucking midget.
No, you know, I'm just saying.
You know what I'm saying? You're normal.
Hey, what are you talking
You're
about?
fucking normal.
But I'm thinking like
it's
you
just
gotta-
all about where you get comfortable with.
like the 1200.
Yeah,
this
that'd be normal.
1200 probably is going to come around by looking at. I would say probably come in somewhere around 550, like Sportster weight. The Livewire, who knows
Well,
where that's.
the other
gonna
thing
be.
you're going to have, what's going to be interesting here is where they cut weight, because when you're making it liquid cooled, you're making it heavier just by having more
exactly
liquid in it.
Exactly.
Because we all know that liquid weighs a lot.
Right.
So they're in order to keep relatively similar weights in making them liquid cooled, they're going
What
to
are
have
the
to.
frames made of, though? What are
I'm
they,
sure they're
carbon
going to go
fiber?
with the new frameworks that they're doing now. They're doing on the Softails. But I don't see any of these bikes coming in under 500 pounds at all. None of them. None of them.
I
Certainly.
think they'll all be around that. Though.
No. I bet you the
The
adventure
live
bike.
wire probably looks more weight than anything.
The Livewire's not going to be that light because
No,
the batteries
battery.
are heavy.
That sucker's going to be close to 650 maybe. And I'm being generous there. But all right, guys. Well, there you go. I think we've pretty much run the gamut on this. If you want to make any comments, or if you want to chime in on this, please feel free to send us a seething email to
No, you have to
MotoMenPC.
We were nice this time.
We were
We
very-
had a
yes.
good discussion about it.
Objective.
Very exactly. Very
Nobody
objective.
was nasty about it.
The only one comment I do want to make about this announcement of this Harley adventure bike is that this is a poorly photoshopped picture.
Oh, with the Harley sign, the label.
Look at the back tire. It
Oh
does
yeah,
not- it's poorly photoshopped. I could do a better job than that.
right.
It's poorly photoshopped. And you're gonna take a studio picture and then just let's put some trees around it. Anyway, so this was an article in what you call it? If they're calling it the
You
Pan
just
America,
got somebody
by the way.
fired.
God damn it! Somebody
Call
noticed.
Jim and the goddamn fucking marketing.
I told that fucking dickhead it wasn't good enough.
They're gonna know. That back tire looks like it's off the ground.
That's it. Cancel the Pan America.
Well, actually, what's kind of ironic is maybe they did it on purpose because the heading says off-road adventure. And the back tire
is off the road.
is off the road. Yeah. So maybe they did it on purpose.
I wonder how many people noticed that. I don't think anybody noticed it.
I don't think nowadays anybody has time enough to notice
pretty
that.
much. So anyway, so there
Everybody's
you
so
go. Okay, events coming up. The only thing we have is that thing on October 20th. It's going to be happening. We're going to post information about that.
Do you think this is going to be up before? Well, you think this will be up either tonight or tomorrow?
Yes, absolutely. Definitely be up tomorrow.
All right. So for anybody that's local to this area, there's an event at Frenchie's this Thursday. It's hosted by the Leathernecks, which are a Marines motorcycle club, but the money actually goes to a guy who I know, at least you know, his father, who's got some medical issues right now. So if you are local and you know where Frenchie's is,
It's in Roselle Park.
and you
Roselle
want to
Park, New Jersey.
support a vet, it'll be a phenomenal thing to
What's
do.
the hour? What's the 6 to 9 or 6 to 11? Probably right.
I'm gonna see if I can pull it up while you guys keep talking about something else.
I had a conversation with the last person who had Woody. And
Who had a Woody or
no,
who's got a Woody?
I don't know if she had a. She might have had a Woody. I don't know, but
Was it in a moist cavernous tomb?
well, here,
You gotta go there, don't you?
of course, it had to go there. Well, here's the thing. You know, speaking of that, I wonder if we
What,
have
moist
any-
cavernous tomb?
You started talking about Woody, and then you're getting
Well,
off track
I
here.
did.
Stay
I
on,
did.
stay
Well,
on.
Isn't that what we do? Like you said, that's what
Squirrels.
we do. Squirrel. I wonder how many women listen to our podcast.
Whichever ones we had are gone.
Yes. I completely.
Long gone.
I probably just I murdered that whole thing right then and there. I don't know why.
A long time ago. By the way, if you are a woman and you listen to this podcast, please let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
I'm curious.
And blame
We
everything.
won't
anyway.
harass you, we promise.
We promise. No,
And it's all Ted's fault.
yeah. Okay.
Now the Woody.
Anyway, see, it sounds weird.
Woody.
Right?
Now the Woody.
Let's talk about your Woody.
So Woody was found.
So the woman who had him passed him off to her son,
Okay.
and her son doesn't ride, but a guy he works with
Yeah.
does. So he gave it to him.
Okay.
So now this guy apparently works in the same factory, but it's a mile away. So the guy,
Woody's a mile away from where he was.
Right. So apparently this guy just hasn't had time to go inquire with this dude. What's up with this? So the woman says she's going to try to find out this guy's number and just directly contact him and just say, look, if
Awesome.
you just send it back. I told him, look, I will pay for the shipping to get him back here in the States. And then I have plenty of people here who would love to take Woody for a ride.
That'd be great.
We're going to do that. So hopefully we'll have him back very shortly. The Chrome Poll page, of course, I've been saying that for almost a year now, but the Chrome Poll page is going to, we got some great questions about on the Chrome Poll page we're going to have up. Check out our Facebook page. And don't forget to check out our other fellow podcasters out there. Coming up next, we're going to have an interview with Drew Faulkner of the Motor Adventurer blog. And are you ready for this? I'm going to be interviewing Lemmy from RevZilla next week.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to have him on. I'm going to
Very
interview
cool.
him. We're going to talk about a couple. We're going to talk about the new bikes. And we're
He
also-
did a really cool video last weekend, maybe like a week ago, about some of the new stuff coming out.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
I saw that,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
And he did a really interesting blog about why Harleys leak. So that That's what started this whole interaction and relationship here. So we're going to talk to him very soon. Any last things before we?
Yeah.
What?
What?
The event.
That bike night is this Thursday, August 9th, 7 p.m. There will be a band. The money goes, all proceeds go to benefit. Like
John's
I said,
father.
Yeah, John's father.
Okay,
He's
great.
a local vet. So if you can make it out, it'd be awesome.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Great. All right, Tim. Anything?
No, I'm good.
Chris. Anything?
Nope.
Justin. Anything else from you?
That's a resounding no.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ted Wrong Way, and
And remember, people, ride like nobody sees you.
that's from Tim Buck 2. What? And oh, you know what? Hold it before we cut out. Before I have to do this. Hold on.
What?
That's what we needed to hear. And of course, Chris the Joker. And our good friend, Justin Shoes.
Shut the fuck up!
It's just as fun every time.
I know it is. It's great. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. We appreciate it. Really, please send us an email, motomenpc@gmail.com. And, of course, go to our website at motorcyclemen.us. And what am I forgetting?
Nothing.
Am I not forgetting anything?
We're forgetting nothing. You're forgetting to say goodbye, folks.
Right. You're right. Absolutely. Goodbye, folks. Thank you for listening.
See ya.
We say stupid crap so you don't have to.
You know what I always think about in the middle of the show, and I always forget to mention. It's funny because sometimes when we do the beginning stuff, we're kind of like slow to start.